Hello and welcome to week 6. Before we talk about the activities for this week, I want to mention and thank you for the wonderful lesson plans that were turned in so that I could give you some feedback. They were quite excellent. I did place 2 things in the announcements area, however, and I'll call your attention to it. I hope you've looked at them. And the first item actually was, how do I write an instructional objective? And I put that in because some of the lesson plans seem to not address objectives in a very clear way, although most of them did. So there is a nice website. There are several. I just chose one to share with you that deals with writing objectives. And I've used this often and I think it's quite helpful. If you think of an objective, a well-written objective, as having 4 parts, the audience, and the audience in our objectives is our learner that the objective is written for. So the learner or the student is how we usually begin the objective, and then we tell what that student will be able to do after the instruction. So that is the behavior. The behavior is the verb that describes what's being done. Now this is probably the most important part of the objective, and that behavior that we're using must be measurable and observable. So it has to be very, very specific when we write it. Verbs such as understand, comprehend, appreciate, how do we measure those? It's very, very difficult, so we shouldn't use them in writing our objectives. There is a wonderful list called the Helpful 100. And what that gives us are words, verbs, that if we use these in our writing objectives, these are things that we can measure. So you might take a second look at that and make sure that your objectives will meet this criteria. The third part of the objective is the condition. Are there circumstances in which the objectives must be completed? What will the instructor allow the student to use in order to complete the instruction? So using a calculator perhaps, using a map, using a book, class notes. And then finally, the degree. What is the standard that this learner must meet to reach acceptable performance? So maybe they have to do something in a certain time frame. Maybe they have to answer 7 out of 10 words correctly. Whatever that is, what will constitute being proficient? Now there are also practice exercises that you can try to see if you understand this. And let's just take a quick look. So you've got ones for behavior, condition, degree. So, for example, choose the most appropriate behavior from the list below. Type your selection and click Submit to check your accuracy. Given a map of the United States, the students will blank the state capitals with 100% accuracy. Which one will we be able to measure? So I typed label and I was correct because that is something I can go and check. So you get the idea. And you can do the others for the same type of practice. The next thing I posted was an assessment. And this link takes you to an assessment primer. I found that the 2 areas that people have the most difficulty with when writing a lesson plan are writing their instructional objectives, and coming up with an appropriate assessment. Just be sure that your assessment is tied in to your objective, that you are measuring in your assessment what you said your objectives are, and that is the key. And you can take a look at our assessment primer and have some additional ideas if this is an area that is difficult for you. Okay, so let's go back to week 6. And you'll see our focus this week is strategies for supporting student involvement. So you've got a few things that I would like you to look at. One is this Cal Updates page. Now, you'll see the update may seem strange because if you look at the date, it's 1994. However, these resources are still good and still appropriate. So take a look at them and see if these are things that you are doing already or things that you might want to consider doing in the future. I also put in 2 short videos. And this one on differentiated instruction is there because certainly this is a strategy that we use to support student involvement. And the video actually is quite amusing and is just meant to get you thinking. The second video I thought was interesting as well, and it shares some new strategies. And this is Every Teacher is a Teacher of English Language Learners. So take the few minutes, the 5 minutes to watch both of these videos, and I think you will find them interesting. Of course, we're going to then work on our discussion board, and you've been doing a great job with that as well. And this is week 6, so we should be here. Week 6, often listening, speaking, reading, and writing are treated as isolated skills. How might you integrate them by using interactive strategies? List some specific examples. Well, that's it for week 6. Please note that our chat, I've changed the date of our chat. I hope that's okay with everybody. Our next chat is going to be on November 12th, and I will be reminding you about that. This gives you adequate time to be working on your lessons, and at that time we will also talk about the philosophy paper that will be due in November. So keep up the wonderful work, keep working on your lessons and delivering, and if you have questions prior to our next chat, please make sure to email me, call me, or contact me in some way so that I can help you out. Take care, have a great week, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.